Hello ladies, and I am back with a video for you today where we are going to talk about getting stuff done. So I've decided to call these videos Grace Notes. Anything I seem to be writing about or speaking about is kind of coming under this umbrella of a Grace Note. So I hope you enjoyed this note today. And what we're really exploring here is, you know, how do we actually get stuff done, and how come, you know, some people just seem to run with things. Sometimes we run with things, and other times we just end up on the sofa for 6 weeks not even attempting anything. And so there's an element of also engaging with something new here that I want to talk about. You know, there's an element of not just getting stuff done, but also how do we engage with something new when it's the first time, and how do we do it easily when we want to get something started. And so as I was sort of contemplating going for a 4-hour hike the other day and signing up for a Shakti dance workshop, things I'd never done or certainly haven't walked for 4 hours for a very long time, it occurred to me that I didn't have a lot of thinking about this, that I was happy enough to jump into the unknown around these areas. And yet, when it comes to, you know, like cardio exercise or going to the gym or anything like that, I seem to feel very constricted about that. And like I need to read the how-to book before I do it. And I need to get an expert to show me what to do. And I get all caught up about it. And eventually then I'm on my sofa for 6 weeks, not engaging with it. So what's going on there? Well, what's really going on from what I can see is that some areas we have a freedom of mind, and some areas it looks like we don't. And so I've had a freedom of mind about yoga and walking and dancing for years. Like, it's never occurred to me that I have to prepare myself for that or learn how to do it before I engage with it. I just get it done. I just go and do it. I just naturally fall into doing it. And I think we all have a freedom of mind as children. I think children are great examples of this. They seem to have a real freedom of mind about just about anything. There's no self-consciousness going on. There's just a sort of, yeah, I'll do it. If you ask them, can they sing? Can they dance? Can they cut hair? They'll say yes. And so I think as adults, we kind of get really self-aware, and we start to become self-conscious about what we can and can't do. And as we buy into that thinking, you know, it creates a kind of a wall, and it puts us in a box. So certainly I could see that in my life. I'm very boxed in when it comes to exercise, very boxed in when it comes to the type of exercise. And so engaging with anything new, be it exercise or a business or a cooking something new, whatever it is, you know, it really requires a freedom of mind. Getting stuff done, just getting on with it, requires a certain freedom of mind. For many of you, there are areas that you just see yourself naturally taking action in. Well, what's that about? You know, what is that? That is freedom of mind. You don't have a lot of thinking about it. You just get on with it. You just engage with it. It just gets done. And then there are other areas where it looks like, oh my God, even if you had another 6 hours in your schedule, it still wouldn't really get done. It still would be sitting there, like the pile of clothes on the floor, or the paperwork and the tax return that, you know, is mounting up for you, or whatever it is. Like, you've got your own example, I'm sure. But the difference is that in some areas we have a freedom of mind and we notice ourselves taking action and getting it done. And in other areas we don't. Well, I want to challenge that idea today. I want you to challenge that idea today. The idea that The idea that in some areas you could be free to get on with it and in other areas you couldn't. I want you to start to see that it's all made up. That we experience this world through thought. And as you begin to make up thoughts about what you can and can't do, should and shouldn't do, you create that constriction of mind. You create that very little mental bandwidth in those areas. And literally, we make that up. You know, we buy into that thinking, and then we find ourselves not engaging with something new, or we find ourselves procrastinating and not getting stuff done. So I think it's a very important thing in life to be curious about our thinking instead of simply in agreement with it, shaking our heads every time it shows up. You know, we question everything else right now. We question the world of politics. We question what we eat. We question what we're wearing. We question, you know, a myriad of things. But it seems to me we don't really question what goes on here. We just accept it as reality and truth. Well, it's not. It's thought. And when we use this beautiful principle and gift of thought against ourselves, we kind of find ourselves not getting on with things and kind of lost in a world of constriction and limits and what to do. I remember when I started my business, you know, I had all that freedom of mind. You know, I had no issue setting up a blog. I had no issue just going out and sharing with the world the fact that I'd left my job and I was now living in Italy with absolutely, you know, no language skills, dependent financially on my partner and no income of my own. And I was just sharing. There was a freedom of mind that just had me show up and continue to share what was going on. And that took me really far. That took me so far indeed. You know, it led to an international coaching business, traveling the world, you know, making 6 figures a year. And so there's something about just remembering that freedom of mind is who you are when you're not lost in thought, particularly self-conscious thought. That's very constricting when you believe that thought, when you get self-conscious and you kind of shrink down into that and you take all of that self-evaluation very seriously. Freedom of mind, just, it's there for you when you start to put the light on against those thoughts, when you start to see, oh yeah, I'm getting caught up in myself here. Next, move on. And so as you begin to look at what areas you have freedom of mind in and what areas you think you don't, I think a spaciousness will open up for you. It certainly was true in my life. You know, like as I began to see some of the areas where I had less or thought I had less freedom of mind, it was like catching on to that, kind of like noticing that was enough to move me beyond it and to have me engaging with new things, engaging in new directions, getting stuff done, stuff I didn't think I was good at or could do or was fit for, energetically able for. So I hope this is helpful. I don't know what you're hearing. I'd love you to comment on the YouTube channel, comment below. Let me know what you're hearing in this, what you're questioning. If there's something you're questioning about what I'm saying, please feel free to send me your question. But know as you go out into the world with your new business or your new direction or your new fitness or your new diet or your new style or whatever it is that's feeling like it's new for you, know that all it takes is freedom of mind to get it going. And that's within you. That's who you are when you're not lost in all of that self-evaluation and critical thinking. Know that, you know, when you want to get stuff done, the only thing stopping you is that you've kind of gotten all caught up and constricted about what's in front of you. And as that passes, because thought moves on, as that passes, you will find yourself getting it done. If you love what we're sharing here and you'd like to go deeper, you'd like to explore more, feel free to, you know, to subscribe. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll be back to you with more Grace Notes soon. And we do have an exploration going on in quite a strong way for people in business and people that are coming forward from day jobs and wanting to start something new over on our group. So you can check that out at citygirlconfidence.com/sales, SALES /group. In the meantime, enjoy your freedom of mind. It's your birthright. Use it to get stuff done. And I'll speak to you soon. Ciao.